welcome to our mini midweek worship here at Kemble United Church and Zion United Church. I'm Reverend Heather McCarroll, and we're offering these little mini worships. They're probably less than 10 minutes, just for you to come and stop by through the week and catch up on what it is that we touched base with on Sunday at worship. So today's mini worship is based on Sunday, July 11th worship service. Now, before we get started, I first would like to thank everyone for the warm and wonderful welcome that I received when I was at the church on Wednesday morning. There was a welcoming party who was already there when I got there, and I didn't get there much after 9, so they had to have been there pretty early. And they had prepared for me this incredible basket. It was a laundry basket that was packed full of homemade preserves, wine, cider, breads, baked goods, some books to read. And I thank all of you. I thank everyone who was there. I thank all of you who contributed. And I thank the Kemble-Sarawak Zion-Keppel Pastoral Church for this warm welcome. Now, as I said, these are mini-week worship services that we're offering, and we're experimenting. To be more exact, I'm experimenting. I was asked if I could do a short reflection each week like Reverend Kathy Hurd did, and I thought we could base this on our worship services. So we're going to try different places and different locations each week. It's pouring rain today as I record this, which is a welcomed pouring rain, but it means that we're inside, and we're actually in my dining room this week while we meet. Now this week, what we're going to look at is the third chapter of the book of Acts, verses 1 to 10. And in this passage, we witness something incredible that happens. It's a healing story, but I think there's more to it than what meets the eye. See, the story begins with Peter and John as they're walking down to the temple at 3 o'clock one afternoon for worship. And they get to where it's called the Beautiful Gate. And it is the name of the gate. And the thing is, what happens there is so beautiful. Because every day there is a man who is carried to the Beautiful Gate so that he may beg for money. That's his livelihood. He was lame since birth. And so when he sees Peter and John coming, he calls out to them. And so Peter and John go over and they say to him, "Look at us. We do not have gold or silver to give you, but we will give you all that we have." And I think right there in that sentence, there's probably a whole sermon series right there. And then they say, "Get up and walk." Now this man who had been lame from birth probably questioned what they meant at first, but he tried, and his legs were restored. And he jumped. You can imagine the celebration. He jumped and he leapt and he started dancing and singing and praising the Lord. And he followed them into the temple, where he continued to dance and sing and praise the Lord. And it astounded all of those who were already inside the temple. It's a healing story. It's a miracle story. But if we're not careful, we actually miss out on what the real miracle is in the story. I mean, at first glance, the miracle is that this lame man is now able to walk and dance and sing. He's had his legs restored. But did you notice what he did once his legs were restored? And see, many of us, I think myself included, would run home to tell my family and to celebrate. Some of us would run to the pub and have a couple of drinks and celebrate. But not this man. He went into the temple, where he danced and he sang and he celebrated and he praised the Lord. For most of his life, he sat outside the temple and watched those who got to go in. And finally, it was his turn to also go in. And his very presence ministered to those who were already in there. His very presence spoke of God's healing power, spoke of God's miraculous powers. And the biggest power is of belonging. See, when he sat outside of the beautiful gates, he was in isolation and loneliness. And now he's in the temple. He has a place in the courts. He has a place of belonging. And I think that is a powerful message for us today as the church. I think that is truly the miracle in this story. And what's most powerful about this story is that miracle is for us. Not only that each one of us have a place of belonging in the church, but that each one of us can go out and welcome others so that they too may not live in isolation and loneliness, but may know of their place of belonging. And I know that has not been easy during this pandemic as we do things like this, videotaping from the minister's dining room. And we do Zoom worship. But the Zoom worship actually is really cool because we do get to talk to each other and see faces. I think the church has done a really astounding job, given the pandemic, of continuing to be open and to be present and to be welcoming. But now, as we're starting to move into the post-pandemic living, I think that it's time for us to think about how we're going to up the game. We have some work to do. The residential schools have taught us that we're not quite there yet. We have a lot to do when it comes to living out our apologies, a lot to do in raising the voices of our Aboriginal brothers and sisters and all those who are marginalized and sitting alongside the road. The church has a very predominant and important job to do, and that is to be that place of welcoming and belonging in the world and in the lives of those who forget, who think that they're all alone. They don't know that God is always with them, and they don't know that there's a group of caring people who want to be part of their story. And so as we go out into our world, much like Peter and John, we go as representatives of the church, representatives of Christ, and may all that we say and do when we come across other people, such as the grocery store clerk who's probably exhausted, when we come across those who may irritate us, our neighbors, our family, may we always remember we represent that place of healing, that place of welcome, and that place of belonging, and may we offer that abundantly. It is my hope this week as you go out into the world that you experience God's presence so abundantly that you too are up dancing, singing, and praising God. And so if you would like to join us for worship, please do so. At the end of this video, there is a screen or a shot that shows you how to reach out to us if you'd like to. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.